Look at all this loot! DJ, none for you! Welcome back, I am Captain Xavier, and I am a shameless fan of getting free stuff. But I am a bigger fan of getting free tactical stuff. And I am an even bigger fan of getting to show off tactical stuff made by the community for the community. And that is what we have here. Many of you may have lamented the apparent disappearance of the holster system. It was hugely popular, it showed up, I really wanted to get some, but at the time didn't have the money, and then never got around to it, and then it disappeared, apparently. Luckily, one particular fan of said system, Armor, Sergeant Armor of the Auxiliary, had been working closely with the creator of the holster system and had in fact gotten the source. And so when holster disappeared or shut down or whatever happened there, he and another member of the Auxiliary, the Duke of Foam, were able to take over and start a new system that they have dubbed the Lotus System. And that's what we have here today. Now, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, and they will definitely let me know if I am, the Lotus comes from that shape that you can see there, which was a mounting system that allowed you to adjust the angle that something was mounted on. So you didn't have to have it straight up and down, you could have it at various angles. And the original one, as you can see there, was 8 points, whereas the new system is 24. If we take a look at this, which is a generic mount the system to whatever you want, you can screw that through, screw it to armor, screw it to plates, to whatever you want, side of a blaster, and then this system hooks on top of it, and it allows you to adjust the angle that you want something mounted on in a ridiculous number of options, which is really, really cool, because that makes it modular. And I like all things modular. Now the main system, they've got 2 main things that they sent me at least. They may have more. I'm fairly certain they have considerably more option than this, but these are the ones that they sent to me for review. They have a single point sling mount, which is molly compatible. So you take out that screw and then slide this through the molly and then close it back down and put the screw back in. And then this can get mounted to your vest, generally up at your shoulder. And then this part is what goes to your blaster. So your blaster loops, you have a strap that loops through to hook to that. And then that then locks your single point sling to your armor. So you could have a whole bunch of these, one on each of your various blasters, and then rather than having, a quick buckle or having to strap it back in or whatever, just hooks right on. Super cool. Makes it easy to pull off, makes it easy so you can put your blaster down completely and then just hook and you're good to go, which is neat. I want a dozen of these. Next, we have the holster, which is, where the holster came from is it was a holster that was just being held to the side and it was clever and nifty. And this has 2 of the magnet points and then 2 of the connector points. And on a plate that you can then mount to, as you can see here, a drop holster system. So it's got its own, they've got a drop holster system that's minimized, so it's just the straps, just hooks in, that's all you've got. If you're like me and you prefer a full thigh rig so that you can have other things on it, holsters for mag pouches, or I think I've got my binoculars on one of mine, stuff like that. This one is molly compatible, so you can hook it to the molly on your system. But it is also still a Lotus. So if we loosen this screw enough, now we can adjust it. So if we wanted something mounted on the small of our back, sideways, you can do that. It still will hook into the molly, but now it will mount sideways. If you want it at an angle, say at your shoulder, so you can pull things off your back at an angle, you can do that. Whatever angle you want it to, up to 24 different angles, you can set it. And that is pretty darn nifty. These ones are obviously custom made for me. They've got the hourglass of the crew, the anti-glass of the auxiliary, fancy border, No, yeah, it's multi-layer print. It's pretty snazzy. I don't know how much customization will be available to everybody else, but that's pretty darn nifty. The other part of this is, of course, these, which are this is what hooks to your blaster, and I don't know exactly how they're designed to hook on, whether you glue them on, epoxy them on, screw them on, what have you. But that goes onto your blaster, and then when you go to holster it, it just locks in. And what's neat is that to attach them, it'll come in at pretty much any angle. It can go, it doesn't have to come straight down. It can go straight in from the side because of how these hooks, this part is designed. Yeah. But to come back out again, they will hold an incredible amount of weight. I don't know what the full weight is before things start cracking. But to draw them, it has to come straight up. So, yes, there is the potential that if you bumped your blaster from underneath, it might pop up and off, but that's true of most holsters, really. And it's fairly stout. You have to mean it when you want to draw it. But if it's properly strapped to your leg, you should be able to quite easily pull it up and out. And they're just cool. I definitely understand why Sergeant Armor has so many of these. If any of you have ever seen Sergeant Armor in battle at any of the big events, and he's got his armor on, thus the title Armor, it is festooned with holster adapters on his back, as well as probably his legs. And he'll have any number of blasters hooked to his back, whether it be dual FDLs. I've seen him with a full Prometheus on his back. It's fairly ridiculous, and these will hold that quite nicely. So yeah, they definitely work, and they are definitely ridiculously cool. So yes, thanks to Armor and Duke of Foam for bringing this back to the community, because it was a really cool system that unfortunately was apparently fairly short-lived in holster, but now it's been brought back in Armored Duke Industries is the new name, and it is their Lotus System. There will be all sorts of they've got a whole bunch of different products. I know they've got some auxiliary stuff as well as, generic stuff, and they can probably do custom stuff, though that would probably cost more. Note on the Molly, so I don't forget the way it works, is there is a hex screw, hex nut, hex bolt, that's the word I'm looking for. Hex bolt, you loosen it, and then this top piece slides off, and then that's where it slides into the Molly. So it doesn't get looped back and forth like it normally would. It just gets looped in through two sets of your Molly, and then this slides back on and tighten it back down. So it's really easy to install. They could have gone with a lower profile. Brought it down to where, rather than, if they didn't have it on a Lotus mount, they could probably go with a much more low profile one. But the Lotus mount, of course, gives you that ability to rotate it to whatever degree you want, which is just cool. So yeah, I've been wanting to get these. Now I have to figure out which blasters I want to attach. There's a lot of blasters that I could attach with these. I'm kind of tempted to go with the back mount option, to be perfectly honest, having a secondary blaster mounted on my back. Obviously, I'm going to want to put this on everything. I'm going to want more of these and more of these so that I can put them on all my different vests and then have the loops on all of my blasters, just because it's neat. Yeah. So, there it is, the Lotus System by Armored Duke Industries. My thanks to the Duke of Foam and Sergeant Armor for sending me these to have and to show off and to play with. So for those of you, those auxiliary who are looking to put your loadouts together and weren't sure what to do as far as holsters go, these are universal. These will work with any blaster that you could possibly imagine, pretty much, as long as there is enough flat space to mount that. And even if there isn't, there are ways of making it work. This would definitely be an excellent option for holsters, because that's kind of one of the big issues, is trying to find holsters that fit, trying to find holsters that are left-handed or right-handed or what have you. These are universal and ambidextrous and fabulous, and they are now available. Link will be in the description. And once again, thanks to the Duke of Foam and Sergeant Armor for sending me this. It's such cool stuff. Thanks. Thank you for watching. Ah, give it.